3-bar exploits. And before we get into anything, one of our topics today is why do you hate Tactical Oyster? So I'm looking at you, America, and the rest of the world. Leave a comment. I can't do it with a straight face. Leave a comment below telling us what is the number one thing you hate about me.
You know what? Tweet it out. I want everybody to see it.
And on that note, let's transition. Somebody else take the rest because I'm about to dive left.
You may get a retweet if you tweet out with a hashtag 3-bar exploits and include the three of our names with why you hate Oyster. That may have to be retweeted.
I will retweet it. I will retweet every single one.
Like whenever it is that
I'll
you watch.
retweet every single one. You come at me, man.
And then I'll retweet that
whatever you have.
And favorite it.
Bring it.
And after Medic Talk, we're going to start with Medic Talk, but then after that, we're going to go into more context as to why we're doing this. It's not a random let's hate on me session, but we'll explain later. So stick around. Medic Talk. Oh, actually, no.
Yeah.
Strictly Business Gaming. Shout out to you. Our sponsor. Check them out, strictlybusinessgaming.com. Follow them on Twitter at SBGaming. They're helping us out quite a bit with the show and doing great things for you guys, so check them out. And after that, we'll move on to Medic Talk.
Medic Talk. We actually, this week, have something we've been asking for, which is supremely wonderful. Thank you so much. We have a listener question.
Thank you.
And I don't have it. Who had that?
The question came from McKnight Patrick, who is one of my subscribers and friends.
Thank you.
He said, what is the most broken bones you've seen in one instance, I believe was the question. So, take it away.
So motorcycles are really cool. Playing on them's kind of fun. Stopping them is a good thing. Having them stopped for you at a high rate of speed with deceleration coming to a stop because somebody else enacted force upon you is not conducive to not breaking bones. So when motorcycles hit other things, people get squish. Besides my best friend dying last year in a motorcycle accident, well before that, I had a motorcycle that ran into a semi-truck. Semi-truck won. If you wear a helmet, it's so that your family can have an open casket funeral. People usually don't fare too well when motorcycles hit things because no matter how much padding you can wear, if you were decked out like a football player, you're still going to break lots of bones. And this guy had pretty much everything in this area crunchified. Other than that, I went to a wreck like 15 years ago, not 20, where the guy hit a culvert and flipped and it threw him like half out of the vehicle but not all the way out of the vehicle, which would have been better. And so as the vehicle rolled, it kept rolling over on him and we put him in a body bag in pieces. So it's like I got this leg, does it go in the same bag? You never thought you'd have had to ask that question. Do you put the legs in the same body bag that you put the rest of them in there with? Well, the answer is yes, just in case. I know somebody. Yes, to clarify, all the body parts go in the same. The teeth will as well go same body bag, but all the little PC parts. And people get mad when you don't find PC parts of people. That's not something you want to walk through the woods and find. There was a comedian had a really good skit about that, about walking through the woods and finding body parts. That's not something you want to do. That'll ruin your afternoon. That's straight ruin. But yeah, so as far as a number goes, it's really hard to count because the way we can, be like all of his ribs. Well, it's just like 28 bones or something like that, depending on how many fractures for each rib. All of his back. So there's 5 and 7 and 5, and multiple fractures of the skull, which is actually different bones, bunches, and that was, to feed a little more answer to your question. That was the context of it was motorcycle goes stop really fast. Don't ride motorcycles; it's bad for you. And if you're a man, do not ride a scooter. Period. Unless you're wearing skinny jeans or capri pants. Steven likes that. But whatever.
I feel like Medic Talk is getting worse and worse every week. Not in the context that you're having poor deliveries, and the fact that I feel extremely depressed after listening to some of these stories.
Well, what do you want to? What would be a good medic story?
Once again, well, for starters, it is Medic Talk. Medic's jobs is to help people who are hurt or dead.
In bad situations, I go to
Yeah.
when your world falls apart. Who do you call?
Ghostbusters.
No, you don't call Ghostbusters.
I don't
We
think
still need to play
Ghostbusters
that.
fixes broken
There's your
beds, but
there's your next throwback game, dude. For serious.
oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, but
Noted.
you call 911 and they send us pretty much everywhere whenever somebody.
No,
is sad.
I understand that. I
So
want
me
to
tell
feel
the-
somewhat better. I don't want to.
You want me to tell the story of the little lady
You know how we're
that I
gonna
picked
feel
up off
better?
the floor? I picked a little lady up off the floor the other day.
Oyster.
Yeah, we can feel better by moving to hating on Oyster.
Okay, so I have this theory. Oyster gets a lot of hate. And
That he does.
the reason that this is what I feel, the reason that Oyster gets a lot of hate. First of all, do you mind saying what your parents' occupations are?
Banker and teacher.
I thought they were lawyers.
No, my dad works for a
It's like
bank as a wealth
paralegal.
management person, and my mom teaches at community college.
Well, that kind of shoots that theory in the head. I was going to say, I thought they were lawyers. You have a very legalistic manner in your delivery. It's very factual, which leaves little room for opinion.
That's right,
And
people.
You
It's
base
factual. It's
you base
factual.
you base your opinion off of collected facts and the way your spin is on them. The delivery is done in such a factual manner, though, that it is seen by it is literally seen by others as demeaning their opinion because it doesn't come from the same place yours does.
That's their problem.
That's
They
what
need
I'm
to-
talking about.
They need to toughen up a little bit,
Hey, I'm good with it. I'm just saying.
if you ask me.
I think it's your delivery because it's not really your point. Because you and I have argued till we were both very red, and some of that we've done on 3-bar exploits. And I know. Well, first of all, I know parts of it are for the show, and parts of it are true belief, and parts of it is just the fact that you're wrong sometimes. But
Okay.
I think it's in delivery. I really think it's in delivery, and I can see that that's not going to change. But I was going to suggest that an increased sensitivity to what someone else's opinion may be would be like if you cared to adjust that. Say,
To give people, I was gonna say, to give people context as to this is, we're not just having
Okay.
a random oyster. Let's talk about Oyster's flaws session. That's not what's happening here.
no, that is
Is that
not
what it
what's
looks
happening
like?
here.
What happened was, over the course of many 3-bar exploits, basically every 3-bar exploits that gets uploaded on Bondfire or Whackmed's channel, somebody makes a hater comment towards me. Okay, and sometimes multiple people do.
I'd like to point out nobody hates me.
And that, well, that, we don't have to get into that. But just because they don't leave a comment, it doesn't mean they don't dislike you. Okay. That guy who disliked your videos and we don't know who he is, that guy, just think about that guy.
Yeah,
But-
there's that guy. I don't know that I like that guy.
Yeah, I don't think I like that guy either. But that's just to clarify, like, and I was getting kind of worked up. I'm like, these people are idiots. How could they not like me? So that's what sparked this conversation. We didn't just sit around and say, let's talk about Oyster's flaws. I just wanted to clear that up moving forward. So
So if you hate Oyster, let us know why.
yeah,
Give
as we
him a
said at the
hug.
beginning, leave a comment. Just come at me. I can take it. I mean, most of you will be wrong anyways. So
See, that's it though.
That is it.
no,
Right
here's
There's
what
no-
it is. Here's what it really
And
is.
see, I'm not trying to say it's a flaw, but like part of everything in life is personal interaction. Like you can be the best lawyer in the world, but if you're a jerk and have no interpersonal skills, which I'm not saying you don't have any
Okay.
interpersonal skills, I'm saying if
Okay.
you don't constantly improve your interpersonal skills, then you're going to be less successful. Like if the judge hates you, you'll lose all your objections. except the ones he absolutely can't turn back to you. If you're put on a team, if you do decide to go with computers and stuff, if you're put on a team to build a project, see, I was always the guy that hated working with a team because I'd rather just get the job done. And I want to say that you seem like that guy too.
Yeah.
Shut up and leave me alone. Let me get done with the project. I'll do it all for us because you guys are a bunch of chuckleheads.
Pretty much.
Yeah, see, that hasn't served me well. Maybe good luck for you, but that does. That
It only
that
takes one
hasn't.
person to make a YouTube video. Most people only hire one lawyer. Boom.
I don't know what that means.
You said, like, as far as working on a team and just get out of my way, let me do it. It only takes one person to make a YouTube video. That would be me. It only takes one person to represent someone in court. Most of the time.
True, but you're going to associate yourselves with many, many other people, whether it be people in your law firm, whether it be many judges, you go in front of court, and
Well, believe
the
it or not,
clientele you have in front of you. You
believe
always
it
have
or
to have
not,
interpersonal skills.
all you haters out there, I actually possess some intelligence.
He does.
I'm not gonna piss off all the people that I need to like me in order to be successful. Just because I'm opinionated.
If you just don't do the brown nose route, because that is.
Oh yeah, no, I hate that. I hate people who do that. That is so frustrating.
I really
I can see in your eyes that one of your coworkers, you are thinking of someone specific right now. I'm not going to ask who it is because I don't know who they are, and he's not going to say that. But I can tell someone down at the bank aggravating.
For my opinion on why people don't like oysters, I think it's a combination of what you said, Whackman, and also him always wanting to play devil's advocate on the show. He'll always take the other side to, not only for good entertainment, but to have a good debate. And Oyster is very good at debates. I think he would make a good lawyer just based on, I mean, as young as you are, and your debating and conversational skills are at a very high level. And some people don't respond to that well.
I think it's because, well, okay, combination of I'm very opinionated. I don't admit that I'm wrong. Okay, kind of like, okay, when Whackman said, you're gonna lose every single objection with a judge that doesn't like you, except the ones that he absolutely cannot go against you on. I don't admit that I'm wrong unless I feel that someone has absolutely made, like, if I can poke one hole in your argument, I'm not convinced that you have beat me, because there's always that one hole, and I can always claim that as your argument being invalid. So unless someone can make an argument, like a couple weeks ago, Whackmed, I forget what we were talking about, but somehow Whackmed, we argued for like 20 minutes about something, and he finally got to a point. Where it's like, well, I can't really object to that in any way, so I'm going to admit that he's beaten me. So the only way that I will admit it that I'm wrong is if I literally cannot combat it in any way. And thirdly, is like we said, I take the devil's advocate, or I play the devil's advocate a lot, and I also, like, I'm not nearly as argumentative and debate as much in real life as I do online, because I personally think if I have to watch one more kid post a Call of Duty commentary, and he's just like spewing out random COD news and saying, well, I think COD Ghost is going to be good because of the new guns they have, and just some generic crap, that's boring and it's not entertaining. If someone's getting fired up about an argument and they're like really out there, not out there like, okay, I'm going to call out a YouTuber here that none of us know personally, so it's okay. I'm not saying be like El Presidor and just be like a complete, just insane person and just like scream at people and just be the complete polar opposite on everything. But don't say the same things that everybody else says. Be different and offer a different viewpoint, because if you're doing Call of Duty commentators, the only thing that you can make yourself different on from every single other Call of Duty commentator is what you say.
El Presidor, if you want to come on here and have your opportunity to rebut, we will allow that.
Oh,
imagine being El Presidor going at it.
That would be good.
That would be good. Although I'd have to submit eventually because he probably wouldn't let me talk. But
that'd be great.
That'd be very entertaining.
You just bring it on, and we got the box down here below me right now that's available for you. We'll switch it around. We make our guests happy.
You just can't have my
VIP
spot.
lounge treatment.
But to sum up this conversation, once again, those of you who hate me, and I know who you are. I'm not gonna say names, but I know who you are. Haters, who leave comments. Leave one on this one. Leave one on this video. Just go for it. Go for it. Do your best.
Is there a limit to
Piss
how
me
many
off.
comments that can be posted on a single video?
I don't believe there are.
We'll find out.
And Whackman, I know the chat is a safe place, but I will not tell people which argument I'm playing devil's advocate.
That's what I'm
on.
saying. Do we want to say that you're going to be doing that?
No.
If you will be doing that?
I think that takes away the fun of it.
Not which one, just the fact that it would happen.
Well, I'd like to think people are smart enough to know that that would happen.
Some of us don't always believe everything we say on this show, but they're usually not too far off of our true
We don't
opinion
lie,
anyway.
as I said in the video I made about this, we don't lie
Right.
through our teeth about certain things. However, and I'll use the Rockstar thing as an example, because I got a ton of hate for the Rockstar discussion, where I called out Rockstar and said it was a bad move for them to delay the online. Do I really genuinely believe that Rockstar delaying the online portion of Grand Theft Auto 5 is some huge deal and massive screw-up? No. I think it's a little bit of an inconvenience and kind of annoying, yes. But do I hate it as much as I said on the show? I do not. So that's just an example of over-exaggerating for entertainment purposes. Now, speaking of over-exaggerating for entertainment purposes.
Over-exaggerating rankings for entertainment purposes to sell seats.
There's a football game this Saturday.
There is the championship, BCS championship game, as it were, this Saturday.
Okay, that's insane. But there's a football game this Saturday.
This is probably going to be the game is. Do you want to? Can I do this? Or you want to do it? Because I
There's
feel
a
like
football game this Saturday featuring Whackman's Florida State Seminoles, who are going to get thumped by Clemson. That's what's happening. And Whackman takes Florida.
Before you guys get into this little preview, if you will, I just want to point out that over here on the west side, Stanford, who was ranked number 5, lost.
Rocked
and that
by
makes me so
somebody
happy.
bad, right?
Utah.
You should want
Utah.
the last thing that you should be hoping for is losses to Oregon's biggest opponents.
yeah.
Undefeated in Florida State, undefeated Oregon, undefeated Alabama. Who's getting left out of that? Or Clemson instead of Florida State, one or the other. It'd be a close call between Oregon and the ACC winner.
Does Oregon play Stanford?
Yes.
Then it would have been better for Oregon to play an undefeated Stanford and do to them what they did to Tennessee.
Yeah, but I'm still happy they lost, and that just shows you that the BCS is garbage.
Yeah, the BCS is trash.
Well, how does that show us the BCS is garbage?
The reason that
just because a ranked team lost a game and you play them and they lost that game because now they're not undefeated hurts you. That's stupid.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Well,
no.
not just that, but
They're
another.
still a team, and they're still a good team. But
Well, maybe that loss proves that they're not as good of a team as people thought.
So therefore, the BCS screwed up when they ranked them 5th.
See, that's part of the problem, and it's part of the problem that we were talking about before the show. Florida State's number 5, Clemson's number 3. Florida State is going to Clemson to play this game, and they're rated
3-point favorite.
3-point favorite over Clemson at their house with a higher ranking.
And since I'm such a genius when it comes to sports gambling, the general consensus for gambling is that being the home team automatically buys you somewhere between 3 and 7 points. You come up with whatever your spread is going to be, and then you add 3 to 7 points to the home team because they're the home team. So in reality, what they're saying is Florida State should win by 6 to 10 points at a neutral site. In reality,
That's fine.
which is
Florida State's going to win by
asinine.
much more than that, but not the point.
I could break down on the football field for you right now why Florida State will not win this game.
Go for it.
Okay, let's start here, and I'm gonna go to the obvious stuff first and work my way to the more obscure and more damning evidence. So we're gonna start with Florida State's schedule. Okay, and the fact that Florida State has a freshman quarterback. Now, Jameis Winston's a fantastic quarterback. He's very good. He's very good indeed. Let's look at who Florida State has played. They played a Pittsburgh team who's a bottom feeder in the ACC, not very good. They played
the ACC.
They played Nevada, but Pittsburgh. I mean, what's their record? They're like 2-4 or something. Nevada, garbage. Bethune-Cookman, garbage. At Boston College, a 14-point win. At Boston College is a solid team. They gave Florida State and Clemson both decent games. So Boston College on the road is a decent win. and you beat a Maryland team at home that had no business being ranked and was completely shattered by injuries. So you really haven't had any kind of test. The biggest test was at Boston College. Okay, and now you're going to one of the most hostile environments in college football in a primetime game with a quarterback who started, 6 games in his college career? As good as he is. You
wouldn't be able to tell he started 6,
he has been lights out. I'm not going to lie.
Kudos to him.
I'd put him above Taj Boyd as far as pure ability. But you take that into account, that's a disadvantage. Whereas we look at Clemson. Clemson went on the road and beat NC State. NC State not that good, but that's a road ACC win against a decent team. That's almost equivalent to Boston College. Went not on the road, but they beat Georgia, who, regardless of the fact that Georgia lost to Missouri, Georgia's a top 15 team in the country. And they beat Boston College, same team that Florida State beat. So, and while it hasn't been that much of a tougher schedule, they do have that signature win on their schedule against Georgia, and they have more experience than Florida State as far as playing in big games, and they're at home. So that's the number one basis. I could go deeper, but I'll let you respond to that initial barrage of facts.
And those are all facts. That's very true. Yeah. Florida State. Let me open up Clemson here. It may get a little noisy. I'm going to hope that it does not. Florida State beat a ranked opponent in Maryland, and again, we argued already the fallacies of the BCS program.
Didn't Maryland lose like their top 3 receivers and their quarterback in that game to injury?
They got the ranking. Okay.
And Maryland was ranked 25th based on beating Florida International, Old Dominion, Connecticut, and West Virginia.
The number 1 ranked team in the nation, just regardless of their injuries, will play in the BCS championship.
We're talking about who's going to win this game.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that
you're both be unranked, and it won't have an outcome on who wins.
Injuries do not play into the rankings, and so you can't. I mean, you get the ranking regardless.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to keep cutting you off, but you're basically saying that it's a good win because Maryland was ranked, regardless of how good they actually are as a team.
They got to the rank of 25, regardless of the amount of injuries they add on roster at that week.
And that makes it a better win for Florida State.
They got to the rank of 25 over a course of 5 weeks, not over the course of 1 week with one set of injuries.
Right, but
therefore, they built up to 25.
The team that played against Florida State was not the team that got ranked 25, though.
There's an element of truth. I mean, that is an element of truth to that. However, that standard is true for all teams, so it's not a real factor.
If we want to get into the screw-ups of the BCS, then
it's a screw-up of the BCS. However, they beat
later. However, the BCS has nothing to do with how good of a team Florida State is beating.
They shut them out. It's a top 25 team. You shut them out
without their starting quarterback and 3 of their starting receivers.
Okay, shut them out.
You basically took a top 25 offense and made them a Division II offense.
Division opponent. ACC opponent.
Wake Forest is an ACC opponent. We suck.
Yes, I know, and I will note that on Clemson's schedule, Clemson beat Wake Forest 24-10 and could not shut them out, and they suck by your own admission. Gave them 10 points on your own admission without injuries. Clemson gave them 10 points.
The offense that Wake Forest feels on a weekly basis is better than Maryland's offense without that many key players that Maryland.
That is denial, sir.
You know who plays this weekend? Florida State Clemson plays this weekend. Wake Forest plays Maryland this weekend. Maryland beat Virginia by like 3 this week, and Virginia's garbage.
I'm looking at the wrong schedule. Wake Forest allowed 7. You allowed 7 points from Wake Forest.
I don't want to argue about Wake Forest, but I mean, beat NC State by 15. That's a division opponent.
You allowed North Carolina State to score 2 touchdowns, and Clemson did. You allowed Syracuse to score 2 touchdowns. You allowed Boston College to score 2 touchdowns. We allowed them to score much more. However, you got 56 points on Wake and 52 points on South Carolina State. We've put up
You put up
Over
62 and
40
54. You put 62 and 54 on Nevada and Bethune-Cookman.
Are you going to make a my own point for me? We've put up over 40 points every single game this year. The first game, the adjustment game, we put up 41. Other than that, we've put up 48 points. 54, 62, and 63. We're still going up on how much we can score. Clemson can't score that many touchdowns, period. The only team that they could score that much on are Wake Forest and South Carolina State. You couldn't do it on North Carolina State. They couldn't get halfway to 50. Well, exactly halfway, 26 points, just under halfway to 50. Georgia does not have a super awesome offense and beat them by 3 points, by 1 field goal.
I can't believe you're trying to detract
Florida
the Georgia
State
victory.
Florida State, I'm not trying to take away from it. What I'm saying, though, is that because it's such a narrow margin, should give you the ability to take insight and say Florida State's a better team than Georgia. Their offense is immensely better than Georgia. Their defense is it's as good as Georgia. We're third all around for points for or against.
Okay.
We've allowed 12 points a game.
I'll make my counter argument to that. You may allow 12 points to a game, but the only two teams you played that were fully healthy on offense and don't suck, you gave up 13 and 34.
Well, now, wait a minute. You're bringing in something that doesn't matter. What teams did Clemson play that was fully healthy and didn't suck?
Well, let me click back to Clemson's schedule.
Georgia.
They played Georgia,
Period.
NC State.
NC State's no good, dude. They're trash.
But look at, okay, let's just count, okay, let's just look at this, okay? If we were to take the victories of both teams and put them in a pool together and rank the teams that they've beaten, Georgia would be number one as far as the opponents of both teams.
Right.
Let's see.
You've only got Maryland, Georgia, and Boston College to pick from. So Boston College we've both beaten, and then you got Maryland and Georgia. So Clemson's got the better win, although it was marginal. And then we had Maryland, and it was a decimation.
At the time, the number 5 team in the country who's beaten several
still a really good team, too. Clemson's a good team. Clemson is a good team, and we will walk into their house and beat them.
Tell me, we've both made our arguments for scheduling. I think people will clearly see that I won that argument. Because Florida State has played a bunch of cupcakes.
As has Clemson.
They beat Georgia.
That's the only team you've got. You can't say Florida State beat cupcakes and Clemson played real teams when the only team that they played is Georgia.
I'm not saying that Clemson has played an SEC schedule so far, but Florida State is not beating a good opponent. Florida State hasn't beaten an opponent that should be within 2 touchdowns of them. If Maryland was fully healthy, if they have their starting quarterback and their top 3 receivers, one of which is going to the NFL as top 2-round draft pick next year, then Maryland, I would say, would be a good win. Not as good as Georgia, obviously, but that would be a very good win. But the fact that Maryland was so hurt, and Jameis Winston, he's a good player, but he hasn't played in any big games. He's beaten up on bad opponents. And quarterback is the most important position on the field, and it's the most important position from a leadership standpoint. And you have, a 3 or 4 year starter in Taj Boyd who, hasn't won anything significant. I mean, he's won an ACC championship, but he hasn't, won like a national championship or anything. But the experience is an important factor.
Compare and contrast the Boston College wins for Florida State and Clemson.
Clemson played Boston College at home and won 24-14. And let me go over to Florida State. Florida State played at Boston College and won 48-34. First of all, I hope you realize the margin of victory is only 4 points higher for starters. 48-34.
That's a possession.
4 points. 14-point victory compared to 10-point victory. That's not a huge difference.
That's a possession. That's a huge difference. That's not a field goal. That's a whole possession.
For a 4-point differend Come on.
If you're driving in the last 2 minutes of the game...
Bondfire, can you settle some of these ties for us? Is a 14-point victory compared to a 10-point victory that much more impressive? I will admit it was on the road. That makes it more impressive. But purely on point margin, is it that big of a difference?
When you say it just based on points, no, because 4 points isn't a lot of points. But in terms of football, I gotta go with Wackman on this one for the fact that it is a full possession. In fact, that you have to score a touchdown. You have to, which is much more difficult to do than a field goal.
Florida State's Boston College win was more impressive than Clemson's Boston College win. I'll admit that. But Florida State's untested. At least Clemson has had one test. Florida State is completely untested. Now, if we want to transition to on the field, we want to transition actually on the field, not just looking at opponents, because we're not, like the NCAA selection committee or anything. We actually watch the games. So, I don't believe in Winston.
I like your point. I do like your point.
About what the selection
that we actually watched the game.
Yeah, okay.
I like your point.
I got that. I see what you did there. That was good.
Right. So, I don't know if I believe in Winston just because he hasn't been tested yet. Clemson has so much more talent on all sides of the ball. Well, experience, not talent. And I think the Clemson has been building up to this season for like the last 5 years, really, or at least 3 or 4 years. They've been building up to this. Like each year they stumbled on somebody bad, or they've gone on a bad run or something, even though they've had the talent. But this seems to be the year that's all coming together. Whatever you want to say about the Boston College game, and whether it was an impressive win or not for Clemson, that's the kind of game that historically in past years that Clemson pulls a Clemson.
Yeah.
You got a big opponent the next week. You're at home against a team that you should beat pretty handily.
I don't know about that. See, I think Boston College is as good as Maryland.
I don't think that's a stretch.
Or better, maybe
Regardless,
a little better.
it's a team that Clemson should beat
True.
by 10 to 20 points, which is
Yes.
a safe margin where you're not really being overly threatened. That's the kind of game that Clemson in recent years trips up on and screws their season up on, and they didn't do it this year. They haven't. They got their signature win. They beat Georgia, who's a top 15 team, an SEC team that's in the national discussion year in and year out. They've played overall a slightly tougher schedule than Florida State. If you take away the Georgia win, it's a pretty even schedule, but I would say Clemson's slightly tougher. And they've taken care of business when they're supposed to. They clobbered South Carolina State. They beat the crap out of Wake. They beat the crap out of Syracuse. NC State was a little closer than it probably should have been, but that was a Thursday night game, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it just seems like Clemson, I don't see any weaknesses in Clemson, really. Whereas with Florida State...
I do. I do.
With Florida State, I don't see... They haven't played any big games recent years. Well, games as big as this one. They don't have experience at the quarterback position. Jimbo Fisher hasn't coached any games of this magnitude.
Clemson has a weakness in that they don't have a big play. They don't have a standout playmaker. That is
Sammy
a weakness.
Watkins? Do you watch football?
Sammy Watkins doesn't have anything. He can't get it done because he's not surrounded by enough talent. Like
Sammy
you have
Watkins
to have
more individual talent than any player on Florida State.
But you have to have help with that. You can't just go.
No, you don't.
I mean, you got to have somebody to throw him the ball, and Tosh Boyd's not getting it done.
If you throw Sammy Watkins a screen pass outside and he has to make two defenders miss, that's all on him, and he can do it.
Sammy Watkins is an excellent football player, and actually Tosh Boyd is an excellent football player. But and the amount of time that Tosh is getting to throw the ball to Sammy is great. But if you only have one target, it's not enough. And one of the reasons that Florida State has awesome ability is because we've got like 4 running backs. One of them's going to desert us and go somewhere else because they got 2 awesome running backs. And they got Wilder and Freeman. I mean, they call them wild and free in the backfield because they can do whatever they want. And with the teams they've been playing so far, that has shown to have been true. Now, it's going to be tougher as the season carries on for them to do whatever they want. But we've got 2 blue-chip quarterbacks. I think Jameis Winston may not even be the best one we have. Think about that.
Who else do you have?
Coker. I think his name's Coker. He's sitting on the bench. They were fighting all through spring practice, exchanging who was actually going to be the starting quarterback. They couldn't figure it out because their skills were so on par. And then you got Wilder and Freeman in the backfield, and now they've got who's the other one that they've just started doing a lot of running with. I can't remember. I keep wanting to say Williams, but I don't think that's it. So they've got 3 running backs that are awesome, and Jameis Winston or Coker have several people to throw to, including a tight end that will go first-round draft when it's his turn. So what Florida State has so many offensive weapons that they achieve big plays whenever they want to. You can really watch some of these Florida State games and know with Maryland they dialed it down a little bit, not much. They really, I think they got tired of hearing arguments like the one that you're presenting, and they just went ahead and said we're gonna spank and we're gonna do this because Bethune-Cookman they allowed them to come on, and then finally showed up and played around the third quarter.
I don't know how you can downplay the big playability of Clemson. Like that's been Clemson's trademark thing the last 5 years is the ability to take one play and just go all the way to the end zone. I mean, you can argue that Florida State maybe they have better playmakers. I'm not as familiar with Florida State's playmakers as I am with Clemson's, so okay. I could give you that possibly, but the saying that Clemson doesn't have enough big playability, that just doesn't make sense.
According to ESPN, Sammy Watkins averages 16.2, or at least in his last game against Boston College, 16.2 yards per carry or yards per reception, and their running backs are averaging 4.9, 2.8. Actually, the receivers are 16.2 and 13.3. So 16 yards and 13 yards a reception. Florida State's averaging 20.3 and 17.7. Florida State's running backs, 7 yards a carry, 8.7 yards a carry. One of Clemson's leading rushers is Taj Boyd. That's a recipe for injury. He's only getting 3.
That's a recipe for making the defense have to guard 2 players in one at quarterback instead of one.
There's a reason pro quarterbacks don't run the ball. You get hurt that way, and then you are, how did you put it before, the single most important position in all of college football when you were talking about Jameis's inexperience. So if you're going to put him out with an injury because you needed him to run a naked bootleg or a triple option, it's not the best option. You would rather do something else. And he's got the ability. Taj Boyd's an awesome quarterback.
I wouldn't say that they'd rather do something else because, in college football is about 99% of games is about who has better talent, who has faster players, who has stronger players, who has bigger players, and can those players make plays. And in the NFL, you're paying these players millions of dollars, and if they get hurt, then that's a big detriment to you. In college football, while it sucks if you lose one of those players, you have no investment in that kid outside of 1 or 2 seasons of winning football games, and most of those players aren't important enough to win or lose you games. Taj Boyd is for Clemson, but it's not, the college versus pro argument. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me personally, but...
No, I was just comparing the fact that there's a reason that you don't want to get them hurt. You don't want to get your guy hurt. You lose because they get hurt.
Last fun fact before we move on. Sammy Watkins has had a reception of over 60 yards in 3 of his 6 games this year.
Wow.
He had a 91-yard touchdown against Syracuse, a 64-yard touchdown against Wake, and a 77-yard touchdown against Georgia.
Pretty good.
Okay, we get 3 of those a game.
Against Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
Because Bethune-Cookman, their starting corners.
Welcome to the BCS, where you don't actually have to play good opponents.
I'm willing to bet that you run a faster 40 time than Bethune-Cookman's number 1 corner.
I would enter into this argument, Oregon.
We got some tough opponents, but the beginning half of our schedule is cake.
Oregon would beat Florida State.
Mm-hmm. Oregon may beat Florida State. I hope to see that happen.
That would be a fun game to watch because they have very similar offenses and very dynamic quarterbacks.
I'd much rather see Clemson. I want to see Clemson, Oregon, or I want to see Oregon, Alabama.
I don't want to see Alabama do anything.
Well,
I'm tired of
agreed.
it. I don't want to see an SEC team do it. I want to see something else.
Yeah. I want to see Alabama in the title game one more time just to see I hope the SEC doesn't win another one because I'm tired of all the SEC bias, which that's a conversation for another day.
Although
But-
the more the SEC wins, the further away from BCS we get, the faster. So
Right. I don't think people grasp how much like the history that we're witnessing with Alabama right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do.
Like how many teams have won 3 out of 4 national championships? I'm not sure if a team has ever won 3 straight national championships in 4 out of 5. Maybe they have, but I can't think of them.
Yeah,
So-
I'm pretty sure they haven't. 'Cause I heard that on the radio a couple months ago when we were talking about it.
I don't think most fans grasp like how good that team is and how much of a dynasty they are. So I'd like to see them in the game, just even if to see them lose in a way, is to see it finally get toppled over, or to see them win and have McCarron win 3 championships, whatever. But
I couldn't. That'd be crazy.
and hats off to Nick Saban,
Yeah.
doing some awesome things over there.
I really want it to be Oregon, Alabama, if it comes down to it. Just because them reigning and us being so close over the years, I want it so bad.
No, you can't have it. It's going to be Florida State, Oregon.
Didn't they played like 2 or 3 years ago? It was Oregon, Alabama,
if
right?
we get by
No, it
Clemson,
was Oregon.
we're unbeaten all the
Versus
way
Cam
through.
Newton.
Oh, it was Oregon.
Yeah.
That's right. It was Oregon and Auburn.
It
Was that
Auburn.
with like Dennis Dixon, or was that after him?
Um,
Or was that
it was the guy after him. I can't remember his name now. I can't
That's a
remember
good
his name.
example of why running quarterback matters so much in college football. Look at
College
Cam Newton
football.
with Auburn after, and then Auburn without Cam Newton. And look at
Yeah.
Cam Newton with the Panthers. Oh wait,
Well, you can look at Dogman. What's Dogman's name? Vic. Michael Vick did awesome things in pro football before the Dobermans got in the way.
yeah, and he also breaks his ribs like every other week. So
Yeah.
Oh, there's your counterpoint.
I think a part of it's a quarterback intelligence, knowing when to run and how to run and slide and being safe about it. But
it's also not having your coaching staff call the read option every other play, and having the play in between be a draw. Like that's part of it. It's like, you know, not to get too much into it, but some coaches are idiotic and try to save their career by getting a really big and athletic quarterback and just letting him run the read option every single play, which sadly works against most college defenses, but whatever.
Confuses
Moving on.
people. It confuses people because maybe they haven't seen far enough ahead into what that looks like. Conversely, in the gaming community, we are seeing way too far ahead into what things look like. And the conversation immediately I can think of is Battlefield. I am the king of segue, buddy. Is Battlefield 4. I know exactly what it's going to be. Or do I know exactly what it's going to be before it even comes out, because I've got it on my 360 right now. So, wow.
Bondfire, you didn't get much in the last conversation because me and Whitehead went at it, so why don't you take this one?
and for those folks that don't know why I didn't get much of a conversation in this, because I'm over on the West Coast, and we're in the Pac-12, and that's what we do over here. But to whack meds, to the whole Battlefield and Call of Duty goes, got to be grouped in with this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I personally refrained from watching the countless YouTube videos and the trailers and all of the information that's been leaked, because if you watch all that and you consume all of that, you know everything about the game. There's no surprises. There's no spoilers. It's all laid out from you. Therefore, you're going to get sick and tired of it even faster. And it's less so with Battlefield, but it's definitely, there's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, we know all the guns in the classes, you know, all the levels, all the game types, and all of that, and it's not fun.
How can you say it's less so with Battlefield? They gave you the game. We've been playing it.
No, I understand that. It's less so with Battlefield because it's there's not as much of it as compared to Call of Duty. That's why I say that. At least that's what I see. I feel like I see 2 videos to 1 Battlefield video on leaked information or game types or whatever. The weapons, or a weapon breakdown, or a perk breakdown. I could be wrong. But I feel like the reason why I feel like there's more Call of Duty of it is because with Call of Duty's annual franchises, there's more Call of Duties than there are Battlefields, and I feel like Battlefield's starting to get that traction to do what Call of Duty's doing. But that's why I say that. Sounds like you don't agree.
I think that your point is negated in the fact that I can play Battlefield.
Yeah, but that's not the final version, and you're only playing a very small fraction of that game. One level, 3 game types, not the same amount of people, 2 weapons per class, with only a couple attachments. That's a very, very small fraction of the game.
Yeah, but I feel like if I had the same fraction of ghosts, I would be miles ahead when it came out. And so oh wow. So guys, we're experiencing technical difficulties. If you'll give me just a second, I will try to get this call loaded back up, which is very difficult because I have to deal with timestamps and all that, so you'll have to forgive me. And I'm about to join a video call. Maybe this will help. And we'll try to get it going again. We hope you're enjoying the show so far, and we do have quite a bit of it left for you. There should be a timestamp to skip this if you need to check the timestamps down below. Looks like I'm going to be able to start this video call, which is a great thing. Maybe, maybe not. And here I am filling air, so we get to see my pure, natural, and raw talent while I troubleshoot and fill air at the same time. For some reason, Google Hangouts is having issues. Maybe I will close this window and you get to see the beautiful, beautiful sunset that I was able to find. Let me type here. And I see that they do have the video call pulled back up already, and let's see if we can't join that. I'm signing in as we speak, and let's join this video call. Let's see if we can get back in without too much issue. I hear airplanes.
Yep.
And I have no camera, so let's try reloading this one more time.
Camera. No camera.
I have no camera. And so we will go without Whackman's camera. I have filled time the entire time, which deserves a like, which deserves a favorite, and a tweet out. I'm very impressed with myself for filling time this entire time. And as I said before, we will have a timestamp so that you can skip all of this frivolity and nonsense. Please, guys, take it away from me so that I can do some work.
Wait, so you kept the recording going?
We're still live. I haven't lost a thing, and I have filled the time impeccably.
Dang,
is your camera going to come back?
I hope so. If you'll talk, I'll work on that.
Well, who was in the middle of talking? I think it was
Whackman, because I said something. And then I don't know what you said, but
I said I don't know. Just go ahead and start your point over, and we will continue.
Okay, well, let's look at Call of Duty. And Oyster, you can chime in here. Let me just ask you, have you watched a bunch of those Call of Duty videos on the classes, the perks, the guns, the levels, all that stuff?
No, because T. Martin and Allie don't make good content, and those are the 2 main people posting those. And I learned enough from the multiplayer reveal to be satisfied. And, well, I watched stuff for like the couple days after the multiplayer reveal.
Yeah.
But since then, I haven't kept up with it as much because I don't feel the need to know all that. Like, it's not interesting to me. Like, and here was my original point, was that if it's a game that I know I'm going to get anyways, I don't need to, and that's an inside joke on the Hangout, but anyways, if it's a game that I know I'm going to get regardless, I don't need to know information on it because no information that comes out is going to sway me. Whereas if it's a game I don't know if I'm going to get, I want as much information as possible to make my decision. So.
Well, let me ask you this. So, if it's a game you are questioning about or thinking about getting, but you want somebody to sell you on it, what if there's spoilers in that game that have already been revealed to you? And you're like, oh, I want to buy it, but it's already been spoiled for you. Do you want that, or do you just want enough information without spoilers?
No, I don't want spoilers. I
Okay.
want enough information about how the game works and what's in the game.
Okay.
If anybody says spoiler alert, or anybody says I'm gonna say a spoiler here or something, then I'll click away and not watch it.
I agree, and I respect that. My thing is that even with all the videos on all the classes and the perks and like that, I almost view them as spoilers, because it used to be that, you know, when you get the Call of Duty game, you would go and you'd spend time in Create a Class to looking and understanding all the perks, seeing what's available to unlock, and as you unlock things, it's exciting, and that's what really motivates you to continue and play the game. And if you don't have that, if you already know what you're going to get and what the best gun is within the game that's not even out yet, what's the point of playing it? I feel like everything's been spoiled for you, and the longevity of that game has been cut drastically.
So you tell me that I don't know what the best gun in Battlefield is yet, that better ones are coming?
Oh, yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at Battlefield 3, and I could show you, in each class, there's, I would say, 10 to 15 different weapons you can choose.
Okay.
And like I said in the demo, in the beta that we've been playing, there's only 2 weapons per class that you can choose, excluding shotguns, because I think there's a shotgun you can use as well for every class. But that's such a small fraction of each class, and yes, you do know the best weapon in the Battlefield beta. I imagine they'll tweak things out and try to, you know, balance those weapons out a little better. But there's so many more weapons out there, and one thing from Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4 is that the weapon customization has really advanced itself, for lack of a better term. There's more options and more things to unlock, which is really cool, and I think adds longevity to the game, makes it more exciting, because you don't know necessarily all the things that you're going to be unlocking, unlike Ghost, is at least what I feel like.
But I still feel like I know. You know, I don't. I'm still getting hate comments on the dual com that we did.
Leave a comment below and let us know why you hate Whackbit. Anyway.
Leave a comment below. Let me know why it is that you don't like big, bald, shiny.
Big Shald Biney.
Big Shald Biney.
I do that often. I feel like I've got enough experience with Battlefield that I can make good decisions when I'm in game, and I could make a purchase decision. I don't feel like there will be anything new for me. I am not led to believe that, other than like the tanks and the cool stuff. Like, I almost feel like if I wanted that kind of stuff, I could go do Grand Theft Auto 5 with what you guys have been doing.
I mean, you can do a lot of great stuff in GTA 5.
If you wanted to do what kind of stuff?
I just saw. I just watched Archaic do like a dolphin dive out of a helicopter, which apparently did not work out well for him.
No, it did not.
And then you got out of the
video
helicopter.
On my channel, by the way, guys.
The three of you infiltrated an army base and stole airplanes, or something to that effect, and then crashed them into trees.
Some of us stole airplanes, and some of us attempted to steal airplanes.
And some of us crashed their airplane into the other one who was trying to steal the airplane.
And then you get shot down. So that's one of the big things that's so cool about Battlefield, except that you could also go play golf or tennis in Grand Theft Auto.
I'm sorry, I can't believe you're making this comparison right now.
I'm not making a comparison. Oh, yeah, I am. I'm making a comparison based on the fact that some of the... Okay, defend it. Fine, I made it. Fight it back. But what do you got?
They're 2 separate games.
Okay.
Just the fact that you said I can't. Well, I don't want to play Battlefield because I can do the same thing in Grand Theft Auto.
I can do those things. Like if I want to do gun on gun, player on player, then and earn kill streak rewards, I can go play that arcade game that everybody keeps complaining about. If I want to fly jets and stuff, then why don't I get a game where I can also play golf?
Because you can do both in one.
I'm finding all of the best parts of Battlefield in different games.
let's just be honest. Wagner just doesn't like Battlefield, and let's just
He
move
doesn't,
on.
and I thought
There's no logic in trying to convince it. So
I almost had him. I really thought he was going to turn around and get the game, enjoy it, and embrace for what Battlefield is, because Call of Duty is its own thing, Battlefield is its own thing, and I think you have to respect each game and love them for what they are. And Whackman just can't do that with Battlefield.
I respect that they're different.
Well, you know what? Just go get GTA 5. Don't get Battlefield. That's fine. You don't have to like Battlefield. Just go get GTA 5, and it'll satisfy all your Battlefield needs.
Let us know down below, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, or Battlefield franchise or Call of Duty franchise. Bring the war. Let's see what you got. What do our people think?
this is going to be the most conflicted comment section we've ever had.
Love it. Love it. The interaction's great. If you leave us comments, we can talk more about those, and it'll feel more like your conversation.
Yeah, that's what we want here. Is we want interaction with you guys. So leave us topics, leave us comments, leave us questions, all that good stuff. We do appreciate it.
But long story short, well, I feel like Battlefield's different because you've actually played the game. I know it's a beta, so you don't know everything yet.
Have you not played it?
I have not played it.
I don't have enough hard drive to download it.
Even if I did, I probably wouldn't, just because, I mean, I'm probably not going to get it, and I don't know. I just don't have that much of a desire to do it. But anyways, I feel like there's probably more information available about Call of Duty than Battlefield, but the fact that you've actually been able to play Battlefield would make it... Because, like, I can know as much as I want about Call of Duty Ghosts, but I still haven't played it. So, anything that comes out about it may or may not be true, or it may have been interpreted incorrectly or something. Like, for example, my favorite example is before Black Ops 2 came out, everybody talked about the Dragonfire, okay, the quad rotor kill streak. They had a real-life version of it in, like, the Prestige edition of the game or something, or you could buy it or something. I don't remember what the deal was on that exactly.
I got it. Yeah, it was in the...
They had a real-life version of it. It was supposed to be this beast new kill streak. It was on all of the trailers. It was a big part of single-player. Get to multiplayer, the kill streak's awful. It's not good. It's worthless.
Oh, and wait a minute now. In hardcore, it's better than a VTOL.
In hardcore, it's basically, I'll admit that.
No, that's one of the things that Call of Duty does well, is balance core and hardcore, and the fact that you can play two completely different games in the same game. But go ahead.
Long story short, point is that just because you have information on something doesn't mean it's going to pan out anywhere near how you thought it would once the game actually comes out. So.
But having played the game...
played the game, you have a better idea, and I think it does spoil things more, even if you don't have enough information. Much information.
My biggest complaint about people that are defending Battlefield is that they're two different games is the best argument that they come up with, that most people come up with. They're not the same game. You can't compare them. You just have to like it. Well, Oyster, in 5 minutes, could you say all of the things you like about Call of Duty?
Probably.
I could say all the things I like about Battlefield in 5 minutes, but you don't find them valid arguments. We've already been over that.
I think when you hear the two different games argument, you're not reading into what that means. And what I mean by that is that when people say Battlefield and Call of Duty are two different games, it's not like saying Call of Duty and GTA are two different games, or Forza and Madden are two different games. What people mean by that is that they're two different games. They're both shooters, but they're different styles of shooters. You play them differently. They interact with you differently. They respond to different things. You need different strategies in each one, and they're built around different focuses.
Okay.
So while they have similar features of the same genre, when people say they're two different games, if you really think about what they mean by that, then it's a valid argument.
And I applaud that entire statement right there.
It's a different kind of shooter. If you could like shooters and say Call of Duty's too fast-paced for me, it's too unrealistic for me, it's too arcadey, it's not the right kind of strategy that I like. So Battlefield is better for me because I like a more realistic shooter, maybe a little slower paced, bigger maps, more, I already said realistic, but that's a big part. I mean, I know it's not, exactly like real life, no game is, but it's more realistic than COD.
Oh, and more people on one map.
There's
different things going on.
It is a different game in that sense. So,
I understand and accept that it's a different game. I have my own theories of how that should be, and I have my own opinions on what I do like, and it's kind of like if you were trying to sell me a. I don't want to make this comparison because it's completely derogatory.
You already made one, so it's okay.
If you're trying to sell me a moped, I just wouldn't like it. Yeah, it's a means of transportation, but I'd rather have a truck.
Yeah, that's you personally.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. That's better than your GTA 5 comparison.
Okay, so we have established that Battlefield 4 is as valuable as a moped.
Oh, wow.
What we've established is that you either like or dislike it. You personally, Whackman. You happen to dislike this game, and that's perfectly alright, but just because you dislike it doesn't mean that it has nothing going for it, and that other people can't like it for reasons.
I did not say that.
No, I didn't say you said that, but when you say the only argument that people have made is, the only good argument people have made for it is that it's a different game, that's not the only argument that people have made. And just because it's not a convincing argument to you doesn't mean it's not a convincing argument to other people. So,
yeah.
Not to be coming at you or anything, but, I mean...
Yeah.
You're going heavy on the Battlefield hate, and I'm sure our Oyster haters...
Oh, no, I'm not.
...call you out on that.
No, I'm not. I can bring Battlefield hate.
Oh, we know you can. You've done it.
I've experienced that.
You fit it into almost every episode.
And now that I've played it, I can bring lots of Battlefield hate.
So you're saying you brought lots of hate before without having played the game?
I'm saying
that makes
now
sense.
Now I can dwarf what I have said before because I have more experience in the actual game.
Again, a beta. I want to point that out. In 2...
I know it's played, and you made really good points because I brought that up to you specifically in while we were playing one night, and you made very, very good arguments. It is the beta. This is a very small percentage of what the actual game will be in all aspects of what the actual game will be. You made a very good point on that. Mm-hmm. You really need to straight calm that you make. That people need to have heard that argument besides just me because what you were very eloquent in that communication.
Well, thank you. But
you know what we may need to do?
What's that?
I need to fire. We need to have a little series called Shots Fired, where I make a 5 to 7 minute video bashing something, and you make a 5 to 7 minute video bashing back.
Okay.
That'd probably be good.
I think what frustrates me the most, and we'll move on after this, but is the fact that you haven't played Battlefield for what Battlefield is. And what I mean by that is the large scale, lots of people running around, there's vehicles, there's so many other things you can do. Now we've played the Conquest mode. I remember we played that, but that map is too big for the small amount of people playing on that map. They did a poor job scaling that to the amount of people on that map. You pop in Battlefield 3 or Battlefield Bad Company, when you play that same game type, when you're playing those maps, it doesn't feel that way. There's a lot more going on, there's more chaos, and that's what Battlefield's about, to me at least. And that's what I wanted you to experience, because I feel like you would at least be able to appreciate that, but you haven't experienced it. And the beta did a poor job of delivering that to you.
You need to make the calm. It's a really good point. Random question?
Random question.
So, I'm going to have to apologize. I did not have a good random question this week.
Oh, well, if it ain't good, let's move on. I'm just kidding.
Wow!
Type it in the chat first and then say it.
No!
So I mean, no, it's not cheating if you say it 10 seconds later. I just want to know if it really is bad before you actually ask it.
Well, fill air while I type.
So, in case you guys haven't known, I've been playing lots of GTA 5 lately with my friend Bondfire and Archaic. Lots of great videos over on my channel about that if you want to have a few barrel of laughs and have a good time. You should check those out. You do lots of great things, like busting into military bases, stealing jets, stealing helicopters from airports, diving out of said helicopters and dying, climbing to mountains in helicopters and vehicles and failing at driving, and parachuting off those mountains. We also screw up our character names. My character is a black guy with Dre Beats and sunglasses. His name is Jaquarius.
Jaquan.
Bondfire calls him Jaquan. These are the kind of shenanigans you're missing out on if you haven't checked out these new videos on my channel. And now let's read this random question.
And since he's gonna pimp out his channel, stay tuned because this week
Yeah.
I've got a couple surprises up the old sleeve there, right there. So
Ooh,
just stay tuned for some good GTA 5 videos. Cause yeah, they're good. Like, spoiler alert, 1v1, me and Oyster. That went down.
No, it didn't.
It
When
did.
did that go down?
Oh well, it'll pop up on YouTube on my channel.
Wow.
Wednesday, how about that?
Let's not forget how badly. If either of you watched the video I uploaded today, the GTA 5, the second GTA 5 video, it's okay if you haven't, but just because I don't want to
What was the video?
Yeah.
The one with the corn maze deathmatch and Jaquan Aquarius.
No.
He worked me on that.
Let's not forget how badly I destroyed you in the corn maze with that
You did.
ninja move. Okay.
You had some ninja moves
Let's
with your
just-
stupid little knife.
Yeah, my nightstick. Excuse me.
Well, no, you knifed me a couple times too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
there was one
but-
where you I'll probably put it in one of the videos. You just shivved my spleen, and then I turned around and shotgunned your face. But you looked mad when you did it. Your character was like out for blood.
That's what Jaquarius does, man. Jaquarius ain't playing no games.
I also like how when you're in your most recent video, when you're going into the corn maze, you
I
just
referred
got
to
blood
Jaquarius in the third person. Oh no. Okay.
Jaquan was going in there, and he just had like bullet holes and like knife wounds all over his body.
His body. I think it's dumb
So
that
it's
they
a
keep
zombie
those
game?
after the. I think it's dumb that they keep those after the respawn. Like after I respawn, after I died, I shouldn't have bullet holes across my chest.
Well, if you'll notice, like in the single player, if you do die, you'll come back and have a little scrapes and bruises like on your face and stuff after you've been to the hospital.
I
Add a
hadn't
sense
noticed
of
that.
minor details. That's little things Rockstar does.
Right, like making your character's mouth move when you talk. I think that's pretty cool. But anyway.
Does it sync up to your, or is it Japanese anime or old Japanese film?
It doesn't look
style?
like they're saying what you're saying, but I mean, it's not like awful.
So it's bred for an episode of bad lip reading.
Sure.
So
Go ahead and ask the random questions, or whichever one you want to do.
Which one would you rather?
I don't think I fully understand number 2, so I picked number 1.
I picked number 2 for the exact same reason you did. For the exact same reason you picked number 1, I picked number 2.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, you're gonna get a nice double dose of random
We're doing
questions.
both.
That's right.
Doing both. Question number 1: if you had to be disabled, in what would you choose to be disabled and why?
In what meaning, like physically, mentally?
How would you be disabled? Like, if it's physically, what kind of physical disability would you have? If it was mental, what kind of mental, what would it be that caused
I
you
don't
to
know if
not
that's
be?
fair, because like I can say, oh, I want to have a amputated pinky toe. Like,
No, this is going to be a major disability, something that would qualify you to be on disability or otherwise inhibit a normal lifestyle.
I'll say I want it to be a physical disability over mental disability. I don't know what it would be specifically, but I don't know. I think your mind is just so valuable, and like if you don't have your mind, if your mind's not right, it just hurts you in so many different ways. Like if I couldn't walk, if I was paralyzed from the waist, if I was paralyzed from the neck down, I couldn't do that. If I was paralyzed from the waist down, as awful as that would be, I could still go on living my life, enjoying most of the activities that I currently do. Would it suck to not be able to walk and to not be able to play sports and stuff? Yes, but I could still live my life relatively decently. But if I couldn't think coherently, like there's so much stuff that you can't do if you're in that situation. It seemed so much more limiting. So I'd have to go with physical disability, unless it was complete paralysis, I guess.
Well, which physical disability? You gotta pick one.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
I
Is
didn't
I don't
understand.
like. Well, I said physical over mental, but I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I mean.
So you slightly narrowed it down, but now we need to know what you're disabled in.
Well, it's like
Pick one there, buddy.
I can't. I don't know how I'm supposed to pick one though, because it's like I can pick one that's more minor than another one. Like I can just take the easy way out. Like.
Okay, so let's help him out. You can go no no legs at the thigh.
So from the, I have my thigh or I don't have my thigh?
You have half of your thigh.
Okay.
Both have both. You're Lieutenant Dan style.
Okay.
You can have complete loss of one arm and amputated the other one amputated at the wrist.
No legs.
With legs.
No legs.
No legs over that. Okay.
No legs. I need it.
How about
all
deafness?
of my hobbies involve using my hands.
Deafness, blindness, muteness. You wouldn't choose any of those over the loss of a leg?
I definitely choose loss of legs over any of those, but easily, without even having to think about it.
Why?
Okay, well, as far as legs versus hands, my three. Well, let's see here. Well, the two biggest things that I do is I play music and I game, and if I don't have hands, I can do neither of those things. So that's why I choose. No, that is not.
Gosh.
Once
the chat
again,
is not a safe place anymore.
Yes, it is. The chat is a
Well,
completely
it's a
safe
safe
place.
now.
I love to make Oyster laugh. It is hilarious to completely derail your train of thought because you are such a composed guy, and you keep on point so well to make you hit a wall
I still got the train of thought right
so
up here.
hard that you just shut down and stonewall. It's a goal for me. It really is.
Well, you didn't achieve it now because I'll step right back into my conversation in stride. So, as I said, two biggest hobbies, music and gaming, both involve using my hands, and I couldn't do either of those without my hands as opposed to my legs. And also, the only sport that I'm currently playing is baseball. And obviously you can't play baseball with no legs either, but I mean, like, throwing a baseball, throwing a football, shooting a basketball are all things you do with your hands and arms. The only sport that I can't play anymore, I mean, obviously you can't play any sport competitively if you're in a wheelchair or anything, except in, like, leagues
Wheelchair
specifically
Olympics.
for that. Right, except for stuff specifically for that. But other than soccer, there's nothing I'm really missing out on completely, like, in full by that. From
Like,
a sports standpoint.
I'm wondering with stumps, like at the thigh that we were talking about, I'm wondering if you could play like water polo. Rowing would be a good sport for you because of all the upper body that you would have to rely on.
Yeah, you could actually play, or I guess you don't play rowing, but you could actually row.
You could go to Oxford, get your law degree, and be on the rowing team.
What do they call that, crew?
I believe that is what it is, yes. That's actually a good accent, man.
No problem, sir.
Well, I mean, maybe not a great accent, but just
No
the
problem,
voice.
mate. Jeez.
No.
The voice as a whole was solid. Oh, and as far as if you want to answer the deaf, mute, blind thing, once again, it's just more limiting. Like, I don't know, I think you'd be so lonely if you couldn't talk to anybody, and if you couldn't see people who were talking to you, and if you couldn't hear people who talked to you. Like, it's like, okay, I guess the context I think of it in is which one of these disabilities limits you the most? And I think the loss of your legs, out of those 5 that you named, limits you the least. Or limits me the least personally in what I personally like to do. If you're someone whose ideal weekend is going mountain biking and running a 10K, and you don't own a gaming console and you don't play any instruments, then you'll think differently. But
I see.
What you got, Bondfire? Which one do you want?
I would pick loss of hearing. Reason being is because I feel like that's the one I could cope with the most. Because I mean, granted, I would have to learn like sign language and like communicating would be difficult at first, but I believe it's something I could overcome, and I could still socialize with people. I could still hear things or not hear things.
You can
still
still be
see
part
things.
of the conversation, though.
Yeah, I could still be part of the conversation, and with texting and stuff, like, heck, I don't even like talking to my phone anyways, so that doesn't even matter. I can just text people now. It's great. And I mean, it would suck not being able to like listen to music and hear the games that I'm playing, but I could still play the game. I could still game, and I do like to be active. So like losing my legs, like Oyster, like I don't think I could cope with that as easy as I could losing my hearing. even though that would be devastating for me. But I would like to be able to still be mobile and not have to rely on someone to, move me or like get into my car if I don't have one of those like wheelchair accessible cars, and things like that. And
Did you consider that if you were deaf and you mentioned having to learn sign language, but that every one of your family members and friends would have to learn sign language, otherwise you'd have to have a translator follow you everywhere in order to communicate with it. But that's a hassle. I mean, if you're in the middle of a conversation, then I don't know. I think the communication thing is just too much to overcome. But Whackman.
I'd want to have Down syndrome. And I know that may bring like a lot of hate, but the reason that I say that is because I want to be able to hear. I want to be able. I don't want to lose anything physically. A lot of people with Down syndrome have really nice lives, and there are foundations and whole sets of societies who should get mega recognition because of the things that they do for people with mental disabilities and specifically Down syndrome. Whereas you can't have what is deemed a fully functional life, a lot of people with Down syndrome can accomplish really great things. And I've never seen someone with Down syndrome who is unhappy. Ever. Yeah, and I've seen a lot, especially with my career. I've never seen anyone with Down syndrome who wasn't happy. And I'm not saying it's great. I'm not trying to glorify anybody who's afflicted by that disease. I'm not. However, if I had to choose to have that kind of terrible condition, and with the perception that I have of it, with them being happy and with all the help that they get and support that they get from so many people in that disability, I think that's one of the ways I'd have to go.
I like how we all picked very different answers for very different reasons. That was pretty cool.
Really interesting.
There's your happiness for medic talk.
I guess, okay.
That did leave me feeling a little better than someone who their body pretty much exploded.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So your second question.
The second question was, in 3 words, describe. And the reason that wasn't a preset question that was ready to go is because I did not have enough or good enough things that I had to describe. So I think that the best thing would do, or that I would ask is, I'll come up with one, each of you come up with one, and then we'll all answer it for each other. Like, I'll come up with one, like, in 3 words, describe money. I'm picking money. Why don't we just
go over the list that you put in the chat, because I think that's a good and diverse list.
Do you really? Is that good enough?
I think that's a very diverse list that would be entertaining, personally. What do you think, Bondfire?
That's fine.
Maybe add 1 or 2 if you need to. Okay, that's fine.
If anything pops in anybody's mind aside from this, we can add them on at the end. But
so we're just choosing 3 words to describe those
words?
We
expanded to 5 words.
I'm trying to understand the rules here.
We can keep it at 3 if you want.
In 3 words, pick 3 words and describe and that you would use to describe money. Or use those 3 together. You get 3 words. Describe it.
Money. Got it. Anything of value.
Okay.
Fail.
How's that a fail? That's technically what money is.
You're right. It is. The questions fail. Oh, I failed so hard at this question.
No.
Is that not what you were looking for?
No, I think it's a good question. It just takes a second to think of how you want to put it, because you're limited to 3 words.
So the way that I put it was like valuable, pain, because it's a pain to have to deal with it, and
you're looking for those kind of answers.
Yeah, like I said, the question's a fail, and now we lost his camera.
Wow. Well, welcome to my show, people.
And so the 3rd word for money is necessary.
Okay. I'll read you mine. I see what you're looking for now. See, you should have gave me an example.
I'm sorry.
I still liked my answer though. It was pretty good. I mean, I nailed it.
Yes.
Not to your standards. Again, just like Battlefield.
You did. You did a good job.
Powerful, important, liberating.
Very nice.
That is all.
Very nice. That was really good
Thank you very
answers. Did you want to redo it, or do you want to move on to the next one?
We can move on to the next one. I'll just stick with my answer.
Gaming.
Misunderstood.
Mm.
Fun. And I know what word I want to put, but I don't know how to fit it into one word. I'll say escape. And when I say it, I mean an escape from the world. But
that's-
Yeah, I
escape.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Entertainment, hobby, and community.
All right.
Addictive. Expensive. Lifestyle.
I like that one. That's good.
Pick a word anywhere. What do we do? YouTube.
We have two more, don't we? Yeah.
Look at-
Or no, one more. I mean,
I was gonna save that.
3 more
last
if you
one.
go with that bottom
Three
one.
more. Yeah, you gotta have the bottom one. But the one that's above 1 or 2, not the bottom one.
Yeah, I'm not doing that one.
yeah, I'll stay with that one.
Think-
So YouTube. Okay.
YouTube.
Frustrating.
You're going that route with it. Okay.
No, I'm trying to cover all as many possible bases as I can with each answer. So frustrating,
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable, and opportunistic.
Can I go next?
Yeah. I'm looking for one more.
Oyster game site WhackMed. That's all you need to know. Boom, right there.
3-bar exploits is better than PKA.
Drop the mic. Now, I would like to go ahead and verify that I went through a technical difficulty, brought this show back online, and Oyster was helping from the other side. Brought this show back online, never missed a beat, kept it going, timestamps are in place, and you still have an awesome show here. My camera didn't come back, and I still have it capturing my camera, even though you two guys can't see it. Better than PKA, man. Better than PKA. And we have an intro, so that just straight up beats them.
Our intro is
pretty much
pretty good.
Pretty much just won that argument single-handedly.
Nailed
so.
it.
Wow.
Drop the mic, walk away.
Jeez. YouTube, videos, expression, and I gotta go with community again because it is a community. You don't like it? That's fine.
No, I really do like it. Diamond in Rough. I'm gonna go ahead and go back towards what you did with your first answer. Diamond in Rough. You can find people like Lindsey Sterling. You can find groups like Walk Off the Earth and Epic Rap Battles. You can find talent like I hate to do this, but like PewDiePie, and who would never have an opportunity to show his talent or to entertain people. So, Diamond in the Rough.
Isn't that?
Diamond in Rough.
Diamond in Rough.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Just because I'd have to have the explanation to go with it. So. Just think about, I mean, just if you take how many diverse things, like, I looked at yours, like, you're subscribed to over 99 people.
Me?
And, yeah.
Yep.
Like, I'm not. I can imagine trying to keep up with that many people flowing stuff into my sub boxes.
I'm subscribed to like 70 plus people, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm like 30, less than 40. And it's because I genuinely watch, other than the stuff that comes out of Machinima or full screen, I genuinely watch every single video that comes into my sub box.
No,
For
that's
everyone that I subscribe to.
Except you don't watch my Halo videos.
Except your Halo videos, because they're crap. Not because they're crap, because Halo's crap.
Oh, that's a conversation for a different day.
You have to bash every shooter but Call of Duty.
He does.
Really?
He really does.
Really? Halo is crap? the pioneering shooter of this generation of gaming.
Consoles.
Okay, yeah, sorry, console shooting. Really?
What do you want from me? It's crap.
We just want some love, man.
I want you to acknowledge
Diversify yourself.
I want you to acknowledge that a game can be good even if you don't enjoy it.
Halo 1 was good, and I enjoyed it.
I don't particularly enjoy playing Battlefield that much, but I acknowledge that it is a very well-made game.
I'd say it wasn't a well-made game. I just don't like it.
But
with your dislike, with that thumbs down that you give it, is basically Whackman saying this game sucks.
The way you talk about it comes
not
off as if you think it's awful. But let's not get back into this discussion because we're in the middle of 3 words.
Yes.
Which I could see becoming a segment in the future.
This could become a segment.
What?
If you guys want it to become a segment.
What are we making a segment?
This right here, 3 words.
Like pick 1 or 2 things.
3 words
on 3-bar exploits. It makes
wow. Sense. Really? I did. Okay. I thought the question's crap.
Because I didn't understand it at first. Obviously, I didn't understand it to your standards.
I'm sorry. No, you had it. Whatever is scratching is really loud.
Sorry, that's me.
Your marker.
It's me shuffling some note cards.
Okay. All right. So we got one more word or what?
I think we have two more.
Oh, okay.
Save the one that's last for last.
Yes, please. I was hoping for it. Work is the next word on the table.
Now, I want to ask for clarification on this one. Do we mean work like a job or work
gainful
like work
employment?
Gainful employment. Well, I don't have a job, but I've never had a job. So.
Your gainful employment at this point, at this juncture, is the gain of knowledge.
School, education.
School, no, specifically school, not tutoring or your 7-hour a day inside a prison wall.
Wow, is that what you thought of school?
Oh heck yeah, dude! School is ridiculous. You want me to, you know what? I need to go on a whole video of why the public education system in America is crap.
I've already done it.
I know it.
Check
That's
out
why
my
I'm
channel.
kind of waiting and sticking away from it. Anyway. Work.
Okay.
Tedious.
Blessing. I'm gonna go with the same concept that Whackman went with his last answer and Bondfire with his first. So.
Tedious, blessing, demanding.
That's a good one. I like that last one, demanding.
Very often unnecessary.
Amen. I don't know about is it though? Like
yes.
Work for me is not unnecessary. I have to go to work. Bonfire's got to go to work.
I'm talking about school.
I do.
I'm talking about school.
And your school is like a diploma is necessary.
Over the course of the 7 hours I spend in that place,
my paycheck's necessary despite how long I'm there.
You have to remember that it's school for me. I'm not getting a paycheck. You have to adjust your standard of the answer for me because it's different. Over the 7 hours that I'm there, 6.5 of those hours are spent on information that will not have any bearing on my success in the world as a human being.
So you've got math class and nothing.
No, math class will be worthless to me.
No. If you're going to be a lawyer, then it's going to be less worthy. But if you're going to be a computer programmer, you're going to have calculus.
I'm probably not going into computer programming. So, decision I came to here recently, but that's a different topic. So, if I become a lawyer, knowing calculus is worthless. Helps me in zero way. And you can say problem solving and critical thinking. I don't need to take a calculus class to be able to solve problems. Same goes for English. If you're learning about like grammar and stuff, that's important. I spent this entire first quarter in English breaking down a Shakespeare play.
Oh, that's a bunch of crap.
Zero value. Science, chemistry, zero value.
That's tough.
Chemistry, zero value. Zero value for me to become a successful person.
Like I would think that a lawyer would need the ability to know several random things that are relevant and worthless at the same time.
I don't need school
Kind of like
to teach
pawn,
me that.
kind of like the people that are, like, was it Rick Harrison with the Pawn Star guy? Needs to know a bunch of stuff about random things just to do well at his job. I don't know. I think that you would need to know random facts of uselessness for that job would make you a better lawyer.
Got it. Repetitive, tedious, and long.
I use tedious.
What?
I did.
That's
I'm
mean
sorry.
he can't use it.
Okay. For this
This
installment.
is our first 3 words. I can use it.
Okay. And the last one was women.
Women.
He's going to jump off that bridge first.
Well, this is a different situation because both of you are in committed relationships and I'm not at this time. So this will be interesting.
We'll step right up, hero, and swing away.
Bonfire,
do it. I'll go.
you seem like you're ready.
I got it. I got this one. I'm going to knock this one out of the park here. Beautiful, companion, necessary.
Oh my god, he did not just do that.
I did.
He did not just do that. Does your girlfriend watch these videos?
No.
Because I would think she does based on what you just said.
No, she doesn't. You kidding me? No.
She should. Everyone should. She should.
She
Show
should.
them to her
All
mother.
7 billion of the people inhabiting this earth should watch this video, but
Yes.
that probably won't happen.
It wasn't even like to suck up or anything like that. I can justify each and every one.
Like you
Well,
actually
I've no
took one of
doubt
mine.
I have no doubt you can justify every single one, but
Even if I didn't have a girlfriend, I would
But-
probably say something similar.
well,
Well,
you
maybe.
did not.
Slightly.
You did not encompass the whole picture.
Oh,
Like-
Oyster's got an alternative point of view. Let's
Well,
see it, buddy.
like with my answers to YouTube, when my first answer was frustrating, you guys are like always going down that path. No, I'm simply covering all my bases. Is YouTube great and fantastic? Yes. Do I enjoy doing it? Yes. But is it also frustrating a lot of the time? Yes. So I'm trying to encompass the entire picture.
Okay.
So your words are?
I haven't completely decided on my words yet, so come back to me.
Required.
You were gonna say necessary, but okay.
Blessing.
I like that one.
Comfort.
Nice. Now, Oyster's turn.
I still haven't settled, man.
I feel like we're gonna get something from left field. Pressure's on there, buddy.
I'll just start negative and get to positive, so don't say anything after my first word. Don't say anything after my first word like you did with the YouTube method.
I think he's going to use what I put in the chat.
Oh boy.
No. Aggravating. Keep in mind
I'm just laughing.
keep in mind, I'm in high school and I go to a private school. When I say these,
sure.
so annoying or aggravating, those are interchangeable for number one.
That's 4 words now. Go ahead.
Desirable
Okay.
and perplexing.
Ooh.
Good words. Like
So I
straight up
think
good. Those are really good words. Oyster is good at this game.
I have. Oh, and
So
word
this-
number 4 is what Wagman put in the chat. Yeah.
The
That's what I
segment's
meant
going
by
to be
annoying
3
and
words. The segment's going to have to be 3 words for Oyster or from Oyster,
I have an immense vocabulary.
because we each have our own.
See, I don't. I really don't.
I feel like mine's good enough. All right, do we have time for Feed the Fire tonight?
We
That's
can
not the way.
if we make it quick.
All right, so this week the United States Feed the Fire is a episode where we inform Bondfire of some of the things in politics that he may or may not fine because he doesn't normally watch anything about politics. So this is kind of an information segment for him, not mostly to get his face value reaction, not his specific political beliefs. So the U.S. government is supposed to run out of money in their ability to borrow on the 17th of October, which is going to be a couple of days after this goes up. And there is a request that the limit be raised on how much we can borrow as a nation. And that request can't go through because Congress is still shut down. The government is still shut down, as we discussed on episode 19 of 3-Bar Exploits Feed the Fire. Which people love, by the way. I got some good feedback. And
you guys talked about that?
Yeah, we talked about. Yes, we did, and
because that's related to my Feed the Fire.
So, what it is that the United States wants to. The president wants to be able to borrow more money. Now, the negatives to this are that we're borrowing more money. We're straight up just still borrowing money. They want to increase it to $4 trillion, which is insane. And that if we don't, inflation's going to go through the roof. We will probably go into another very deep recession or a depression. Things will be as bad as they have been for several years in the past. And these are all negative things that will happen to the American taxpayer, to the general public of the United States, if we do not increase the debt ceiling, as it were. Now, if it does go through and the debt ceiling is raised, then depending on how it's done, a lot of the things that the Republicans and the House of Congress more specifically have been standing up for, it would be kind of mute. It's a pivot point. It's a cliff. It's a finality. And if things were to go up to the 17th, then that ultimatum would be that would be the day of ultimatum, where someone would really need to crack, because the government's shut down tons of times in the past. That's nothing new, but we've never welched on a debt, and that's what we'd be facing on the 17th, is actually not paying back money that we have borrowed, but we'd be borrowing money to pay money back. It's a terrible situation to be in. We should have never gotten here, and there are many different political views on how we should proceed from here.
Wow.
That was a solid knowledge, Mom.
Yeah, I knew parts about that. I didn't know the inflation part. I knew it has negative repercussions, but inflation, I'm sure my mom's told me something about that. Mom's always keeping me semi-up-to-date when I see her. But that frustrates me. Because
I think the government frustrates you.
Well, yes.
The way we spin it to him, how could it not?
Well,
that's true.
I mean, if you just look at it, no business does that. No person does this as far as just managing money, borrow more money to pay money back. That it doesn't make sense. And it's not a good business model. It's not how you should proceed financially. It's unfortunate. I don't know how we get out of this with everyone winning.
We get out of this with everyone winning with fiscal responsibility in
No.
place, with good budgetary guidelines. And
No, we don't, because then the people mooching off the government, living off of welfare, get pissed because we're not giving them free handouts, so they don't win. So we can't make everybody win.
I love how the camera comes back, and so do fire breathing points. It all happened at one time, and that was great.
I really enjoyed that comment.
Roar.
Yeah.
I don't want to go deep into the debt ceiling conversation, because as much as I do enjoy talking about politics and reading about it and stuff, economics is my weak point in politics. I just know that fundamentally socialism doesn't work, and it's wrong morally. And that's as far as I need to go as far as economics.
It's also wrong biblically.
What?
It's also wrong biblically.
I say it's wrong morally because you're taking away from those who have earned things and giving it to those who haven't. But anyways.
I was just supporting your argument there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're on the same page there.
Do you care to explain how it biblically? Because I'm not. If you want to, you don't have to. I don't know if you want to go into that.
The theory
I've never heard that before. So
if a man doesn't work, neither let him eat is a biblical phrase.
Okay.
I mean, you go to BibleGateway.com and search for something worded similar to that, and you can come up with the exact scripture. But the book of Proverbs, which is Solomon, the wisest man on earth, with knowledge, wisdom gifted by God to him, with the ability to lay down wisdom and knowledge and good, smart proverbs.
Drop knowledge bombs.
Drop knowledge bombs is full of warnings about being slothful and being a sluggard and being lazy. The book is full of it. The story of the ant gathering and the grasshopper not gathering, that comes off of a proverb, and that's like a children's story most people know, or maybe like an Aesop fable. I think Aesop made it a full-on story where it was just one paragraph or one proverb. But the theory of socialism can be disputed biblically like that if you wanted to take the time to invest in that conversation.
My feed the fire tidbit is that obviously we know that the government is currently shut down because basically the Republicans are trying to block Obamacare, more or less, is a big part of why it's being shut down. And today, this morning, there's supposed to be a meeting between basically everybody involved, Republican leaders, or the House leaders from both sides, the White House, everybody's supposed to kind of come together, try to figure it out. And that meeting was canceled by the White House.
Go figure.
And I think it's funny because both sides are saying that the other side is the reason that the talks aren't happening, when in reality, it's both sides' fault.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was interesting. And I think it's interesting that Obama keeps blaming the Republicans for not wanting to talk, and then he told the Republicans he wouldn't negotiate, and then he went on national television later that day and told people the Republicans would not negotiate with him. And this morning, he canceled a meeting with the House leaders to negotiate. So, if I haven't made my political allegiance clear enough, Barack Obama is not my favorite person.
Yeah, but I think that one thing that you can experience in the future is that it's not necessarily that you have to be a Republican or a Democrat. I'd rather not be either.
I think the party system is what has dragged down America. I think people...
No, wait a minute. We used to have a great party system. There were several different parties. The two-party system has dragged down a lot of America.
I think the party system, while you're right in that it has worked in the past, the party system is bad because people start to see themselves as a member of their party, not as an American. The moment that people start identifying themselves as I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican and not I'm an American and I want what's best for America instead of I want what's best for my party and I want my side to be proven right, that's when it started to become, that's when Congress became completely unproductive and nothing gets done. Is when people are more worried about what's right for their party and being right than what's right for the country and the people who live in it.
It's awfully funny that that it's so much straight party line as far as who chooses to vote for what.
Oh yeah.
It should not be. I mean, you should have Democrats who don't agree with Barack Obama. You should have Republicans that do not agree with what the Republican Party leadership is doing. You should have people on both sides of the aisle not agreeing, and yet you don't. You've got a straight party line. It's either a Republican thing or a Democrat thing. Why can't we just have a "this is good for my people" thing? Or this is a good thing for the people of this state, which is why they're supposed to be there in the first place. That's
what happened to representing your constituents? When did that stop being a thing? When did it be more about what you believed instead of what the people who voted you into office believed?
Yeah, so that's Feed the Fire for this week, and it's also going to wrap up 3-bar exploits unless you two
Well,
have...
actually, Bondfire never really gave us thoughts on the
Oh, I'm
fact
sorry.
that the White House canceled the meeting.
That's fine.
My apology.
I agree with you that it's funny because both sides are obviously pointing fingers. Oh, I didn't do it. Oh, no, they're doing it. Vice versa. And this should piss America off. This should really piss every single American off. And when you do get a chance to vote, you should take advantage of that so this crap does not happen. And you can't complain about it if you put this person in office. I think more people should be involved. More people should be aware. Hence, Feed the Fire. And speak out. And you have a good point with the representing your constituents. That's really interesting because you're supposed to represent your constituents, yet every year you get elected in, and I'm talking to everyone, both parties. I'm not citing different sides here, but that's interesting to me. It doesn't fully make sense to me.
So here's the thing: if you want to manufacture your own Feed the Fire about a specific topic that you feel you need to know more about before we do one of these shows, and have to wait for us to come across it, you can suggest that to us. One good way to get a news source is to go to a very conservative place like Fox News or something, and that's going to be slanted to the Republican or the conservative side, and then go to somewhere like MSN or MSNBC or whatever, somewhere that is going to be slanted, CNN, that's going to be slanted to the liberal side or the Democrat side. Read the same articles from both of them. Or about the same thing, like whatever. Read the same article on the same. What am I trying to say? Topic.
You're basically trying to say CNN
get both sides.
CNN will write about this topic, slanted towards liberals. Fox News will write about this, slanted towards conservatives. Take whatever common ground there is between the two, and base your argument off that.
Yes. Because they're both going to slant it. At least take what they do agree on and try to work from there. Wall Street Journal is not so terrible either. Anyway, do we have anything else, guys?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
Cool. That's episode 20, man. It's awesome to have gotten this far. We need to do another live episode soon, and Strictly Business Gaming is going to help us to do that in the future. Hope you really enjoyed it here, even with the technical difficulties that we have undergone. If you would like any of your topics addressed or discussed, please leave them in the comments down below or tweet them at us using the hashtag 3bar exploits. Thanks. Have a great day. Except that I don't have the little cut it off button. Ready? Good night.